Kyle here for Whistling Dixie Farms, and I am going to tell you today about how I make chicken food for our flock of free-range chickens. This is a recipe that I based off of a recipe that comes from Fertrell. They're a feed company that make different food supplements for all kinds of animals, and I kind of took that and tweaked it for what works for us, what I can get, and what the chickens like to eat. I've been working on it for a little over a year now, and works out really well for us. And cost wise, it's a little under half, I'd say, about what it would cost us to buy bagged feed from the store. And beyond that too, we also like to be able to know everything that our chickens are eating. They put a lot of different weird things in commercial feed as a protein supplement, and you don't always know whether that could be animal products or something like that. So this is what our chickens get beyond their free-range diet and other food supplements we give them, like pumpkins and squash that we can get seasonally. I make 200-pound batches, but I'll break it down to 100 pounds because that's kind of how the recipe works. And it's really just 5 things: shell corn, oats, Fertrell NutriBalancer, soybean meal, and calcium. It's 60 pounds of shell corn, so a 5-gallon bucket weighs about 30 pounds of corn. So I'll do 2 of those, and we'll do 10 pounds of whole oats. I get those from a local farmer, as well as the corn. 3 pounds of this is a Fertrell NutriBalancer. Comes from the feed store. It's mostly made out of kelp, I believe, is the primary ingredient. It might even be organic. I would have to check the tag. And this is just soybean meal. It's made from the byproduct of soybeans that they press for oil. Then they roast them and grind them up. This is very high protein and good for the chickens. And then last is calcium supplement. It's basically crushed limestone. That's what makes the eggs strong and also helps their crop. So you mix all that together, and we feed a little bit of that to them in the morning, a little bit in the evening, and then they get to free range all day. So as far as how I make it, you can see this contraption here that I've built to grind the corn and the oats. It's basically what's left of a wood chipper that I picked up from a local scrap dealer, basically. And on the inside, so you drop the corn and the oats down the chute here, and inside this kind of round part is basically the same concept as a hammer mill. It spins around with these metal fingers, and that just kind of breaks up the corn and the oats into smaller pieces. It makes it easier for the chickens to eat it. They could handle eating all that stuff whole, but then they can be kind of picky. They'll eat out what they want and leave what they don't, and they don't get the good balance of all the ingredients that way. When I bought it, it had a motor on it, and that lasted me a while, but it was kind of broke down. That's why I was at the junk dealer. So I recently put a new motor on it from Harbor Freight, and that's been working great. It's super loud because there's no muffler the way I had to modify it to work, but I'm still happy with it. It grinds corn a heck of a lot better than the old motor that was kind of losing power. And then it kind of comes down the chute here into this 35-gallon drum. My long-term goals would be to basically build kind of a dust collector type setup, like from a wood shop, to help catch all the dust and the grindings. In the meantime, I've kind of fashioned this burlap sack as a filter, because it's really dusty, and the cycle of the hammer mill makes a lot of wind. It works like a big blower, essentially. So without the filter, it will fill the barrel up with the corn and then start blowing it out all over, which makes a mess, and it is kind of painful if you're nearby because it'll blast you with corn. So in the meantime, this works. Probably this winter sometime when I have a little bit of downtime, I will work on building a better system. Under here there's kind of a 90-degree bend that I made out of a scrap piece of heating pipe, like a vent pipe. So I will come back in a few minutes when I'm done grinding. It's way too loud to run the camera and pretty dirty, so I will show you what happens when I'm done. Alright, so here's the finished product. Just kind of chops everything up. You got some big chunks, some little chunks. Just kind of alternate back and forth between oats and corn, so it kind of mixes it all up. And then I will mix in all the other pieces, and this eventually gets transferred to a metal trash can that we use for storing feed. And that, like I said, that lasts us about 2 weeks-ish on 200 pounds. And you can see the chickens, like feed making day, they clean up all the bits that fall out of the grinder. They go bonkers for it. So that's more or less my process. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Otherwise, you guys all have a great day. Bye.